guys, our last day and our last round of spring football coverage with our last round of spring results. We've made it. We have made it all the way for the past 2.5 months, 2.5 months. March, April, and now we're into May 13th, our last round of spring football coverage happening now with 4 SEC teams on tap. We're going back to Missouri. We're going all the way back to Florida, going back to Auburn and Tennessee to close us out for our last round of spring football coverage here on Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, I know you're probably thinking, it's finally done. It is finally done. It is. But guess what? We will conclude today, and then we will shift over to our post-spring, at least, with our spring transfer portal. More on that at the end of the episode. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But, guys, welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, May 13th, in the year of our Lord 2025. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris. And whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, listening on Podbean, or listening on Apple, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage and some spring football coverage presented by me. Now, after watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. All you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram at Pigskin_Frenzy. Follow like the pages there. You're going to get episode updates, news, and highlights from across college football, trivia questions on Instagram stories, going into today's college football question, as well as all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. There's the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. There's a Home and About Me page. There's a platforms page, a store and affiliations page. On the Home and About Me page, you can contact me there. Contact info, name, email, question. I'll answer it on air or off air if need be. We will have more on that as we regularly update the website here on Pigskin Frenzy, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. Guys, we're ready to rock and roll with some college football coverage. I'm so excited to dive deep in to our last round of spring results and our last phase and our last, really technically, episode of spring football coverage. We've been going over spring football for the past 2.5 months. We have more things to go over during this offseason, like more list episodes. We're going to talk about the transfer portal and the post-spring window there. We're going to discuss the top games that are going to impact the playoff hunt. We're going to talk about games that are going to impact the season. We're going to discuss things moving forward that impact 2025. And in June, especially June, we will have our conference standing projections. Most likely, we'll have correspondents on the show. Hopefully, I'm trying to work some things out to get some people on the show. We're going to also have, guys, Media Day recaps and coverage and my thoughts on Media Days and presentations on that in July. We have a lot going on during the offseason in college football, a lot of work, a lot of grinding. Keep plugging into Pigskin Frenzy. 4,900 listeners. Guys, thank you. All platforms. YouTube numbers are building. Guys, thank you. Keep on plugging in on YouTube, on all audio platforms. 4,900 plus listeners and counting. Tuesday and Thursdays, each and every week. I'm so excited. I'm fired up. I'm pumped. Thank you, guys. We couldn't do this show without the Lord, and we give him all the praise for everything going on. Let's dive deep into our spring football coverage and conclude with our spring post, coverage of spring football, all right? So let's discuss it. Let's talk about it, and let's dive deep into it, right? Okay. As I, tighten my mic here and get everything, sort of set. There we go. So, Missouri ended theirs way back in March. All right, way back in March. So when we did our outlooks, their spring was already over. But I didn't really watch their spring because I wanted to do an outlook on it first before I watched their tape and watched their film and their highlights and practices. Well, I did that and I evaluated everything and I got my grade. Missouri had a season last year where it was a little bit up and down. And when I mean up and down, I mean they started off a little bit hot. And then they ended up, Vanderbilt played them close, and you're thinking, okay, we got some weakness on this team, a little bit. Not like it was offensively in 2023, but we'll see, right? We'll just keep on plugging in and keep on going. So the injuries were a big concern. The injuries were a huge concern. A lot of people were getting beat up on that team. It caused them to lose big-time games, including Alabama. They lost to teams like South Carolina. They lost to some good. South Carolina was a good game. Don't get me wrong. It was on our frenzy list. But, look, they lost some games to where it was pretty substantial because of these injuries, right? It played effect. It really did. It played effect because of these injuries. So With that, we look into this year. They ended their season on a high note with the Music City Bowl against Iowa, beat them there in Nashville. Now we're here. They're ready to rock and roll, and we're ready to talk about Mizzou and what can we expect from them heading into the fall and 2025 season and what's going to go on down there. Head coach Eli Drinkwitz is back along with offensive coordinator Kirby Moore. DC Corey Patoon is also, they're all back with Mizzou this year going into 2025. So let's discuss their spring results and their spring, and let's discuss how I think, that they did. So if you want to look to me as we, dive into everything here. I'm getting my mic adjusted and everything. So as we dive into everything and we look and just talk about their spring, right? And just discuss what happened. Okay. What I liked and disliked. So what I disliked about their spring was they had a lot of guys on O-line leaving, lost 3 offensive starters and on the O-line. O-line is built and they have depth on the O-line, but they're not a cohesive unit. And that's what I did not like at spring practice. I did not like seeing that at spring practice. I wanted to see what was going to happen there. Are they going to be a cohesive unit? And that was a big concern for me there. A lot of mixed signals, a lot of miscommunication on the O-line is what kind of got me a little bit. They got to develop on that coming into the fall and coming into the spring. However, I think that I think when you look at it from you lost Mimbo to the NFL draft and to the Jets. You lost 2 other starters as well on the O-line. It's like, okay, this is bound to happen. Yeah, but you also got guys who in the rotation can play right away and should know, like, hey, we need to get the offensive line in check, right? We need to be in cohesive unit here. And I think Mizzou is struggling with that a little bit. I think they need to develop on that area. I think other than that, they do have some other issues. Like, I would say the concern to me is the conditioning a little bit. Conditioning needs to be a lot better going into this year. I'm still not seeing anything that's jumping out on the conditioning department, which worries me a little bit. Conditioning is a thing that I want to see them get better at and be well conditioned ahead of the fall and the 2025 season. So that's automatically numero uno, or those are numero uno and numero two, or numero dos, excuse me. Spanish is going off. For Missouri in their spring, that's 2 things right there that's a big concern for me. Here's what I did like, though. I liked Bro Pribula at quarterback. I like Bro Pribula at quarterback. He's QB1 for this team. I think he's got what it takes to be that guy. I think that Bo Pribula has what it takes he's got the confidence of a QB1, and I think, to me, there's nobody really better for Missouri right now, to me, at the QB spot than him. I mean, Drew Pine could fill in that void maybe, but I think Bo Pribula is that guy. He carries himself as that guy, and he looks like he's ready to, take over for Brady Cook and take over this Missouri offense. I liked the defense. I liked how physical they were. I think that physically they looked a little bit better than they did last year. I think they got to work on a little bit of more tackling, like open field tackling. But other than that, they do look physical when they do tackle, and they do show some true playmaking ability on that side of the ball, which I do like. So those are a lot of the things that I liked from their spring and liked from Missouri as a whole. Overall from their spring, here is what I'm getting at. I think they're this team. And this is not really a spoiler alert for the conference standing projections. I'm not going to say where I have them. I haven't even done enough homework yet to decide on who's going to be where in my conference standing projections in June. But if you want to look at Missouri currently right now, like if you want to look at Missouri and think to yourself right now, when you look at Missouri to me is kind of a middle of the pack kind of team. From me, I think that their schedule's a little bit tough. I think that they got the playmakers. I think they're going to win games. I think they will go to a bowl game, yes. But if I had to sit and say automatically they're going to compete for the SEC, I think I would be a little bit surprised if they did at this point in time. I think they're losing some key players that really made a difference for this team. It's going to be kind of a rebuild in that sense, and I think that's where I think things stand for Missouri with me. Overall, how do I grade the spring? It's a B plus. I think B plus is the best grade I can give them right now. I think that they have an amazing talent. I just think that this team really needs to develop in the key areas of conditioning and getting their offensive line in a cohesive fashion and cohesive unit. That's the two main things that I really want to see, and that's why it bolstered down to me for a B+. Other than that, I think they will win some games. I think they will be a competitive team. Excuse me. I think they will be a competitive team. There we go. My voice sounds a lot better. I think they will be a competitive team. I think that they are going to be a team that will compete. I just don't think that they're going to be a team that competes in the SEC and goes to Atlanta at this point in time. I just think they're a rebuilding team. I think Missouri's good, but not one or two in number one and number two seed in Atlanta for the SEC title game. So Missouri, grade B plus for the Pigskin Frenzy spring result grade. That is my spring result for Missouri, and that's what I think right now heading in to the fall and the 2025 season for Missouri. So that is Missouri spring results. Let's move on to Florida. Florida is a team that caught everybody off guard last year. Excuse me, my voice. I hope it's not giving out on me because I've been doing Pigskin Frenzy a lot, so bear with me. I hope it's not giving out. So, Florida, knock on wood, Florida. Florida is a team that has been, when you look at them and when you think about them, I think that they're a team where you look and you're thinking, is it going to be like it was to end the last season? Are they going to pick up where they left off at the end of last year? Because starting off, they lost a blowout game at home against Miami. It went rough from there. They lost a beat down to Texas A&M. They lost to Texas. But then out of those games, they played close against Georgia. They beat LSU, and you're thinking, I didn't think they were going to beat LSU. They upset Ole Miss and knocked them out of the playoffs. Then they ended up beating Florida State, and they ended up just blowing out Tulane in the Gasparilla Bowl. So you're thinking they ended on an 8-win season, a season that nobody expected Florida to have. Billy Napier essentially saves his job for now. A lot of people think he's on the hot seat, which it's understandable. You're putting a lot of stock into DJ Lagway at quarterback right now, and you got some new playmakers from the portal, and you finish with a solid top 10 recruiting class as well. So it's a lot of stock this year. A lot of people buying into what the Gators are doing now, more so than last year, and Billy Napier shut everybody up for now. But what's it going to be like this year? Because they still have a very tough schedule. It's the same schedule as last year, but flip-flopped. They play Miami. They play A&M, LSU, and Texas. They play those teams right out of the gate. Right out of the gate, they play those teams. And it's going to be a little bit tough. So what's going to happen for Florida heading into this season? I want to see what they were going to look like during the spring, and how I think they adjusted. Are they going to keep up that momentum from to the end of last year? What's going to happen there? Head coach Billy Napier, offensive coordinator Russ Callaway, co-DC Ron Roberts, co-DC Vinny Sinceri, and new co-DC Robert Bala, all there for 2025 for heading into this college football season for 2025 and for the fall. So overall, I wanted to see a little bit for Florida. I wanted to see how the edge rushers were going to look on the defensive line. I wanted to see what was going to happen. Offensive line, I want to see how well they were built. What were the quarterbacks going to do that DJ Lagway was not going to throw? How was the team overall going to be prepared mentally and physically? So what I did like and disliked about Florida spring, and let's go into their spring results right now. So what I disliked about this team was there really wasn't much show or standout of the defensive line and the edge front. I really wanted to see that. You got George Crumbs Jr., you got all these guys back, and I really wanted to see what was going to happen on the edge. Didn't see a whole lot there yet. And don't worry, we'll see it in the fall because they got some guys, but they just didn't really show, and they didn't really play as much, and they really didn't show as much. I was really you're really like, dang, So I really disliked that I did not get to see that. It's not really a big deal. It's more like a bummer. Not really like it concerns me because they got some guys on the edge, But it was more like a bummer because I wanted to see how well they are more developed heading into the fall and heading in to the 2025 season. So I was kind of like, bummer there for Florida. But that's number one. Number two, what I did not like is I was really bummed about the conditioning. I think the conditioning is a little bit of a concern. There were some guys that were beat up a little bit. I think they need to get a little bit more healthy heading into this year and heading into the fall because they're going to need a lot of guys to get ready and to be really conditioned and well prepared for the start of this season. They really got a good start of the year, right? So it's like we need them to be well conditioned and prepared for this team, right? They got Texas A&M, LSU, Miami, all early on in the year. So it's like we need this team to be conditioned. So that's number two on what I disliked for this team. Other than that, here are the things that I liked. They have some playmakers. They really do. They have some playmakers at the running back spot. Montreal Johnson back. They got some playmakers at the receiving spot. Dallas Wilson was a playmaker. He's going to emerge as a solid wide receiver for this team. You got guys at the offensive line spot. I really liked what I saw from the O-line. I think they're a cohesive unit. They looked like they were really well prepared, and they were blocking really well. I think that they look good defensively. I think this is a team that's going to be very underrated on the defensive side of things. I like the depth at the quarterback position. Even though DJ Lagway didn't participate, he was trying to like save himself and get ready for fall and preseason and training camp at the start of the year. Aiden Warner played really, really good. He looked really good throwing the ball. He looked like he was a solid backup quarterback for this team. Honestly, if Aiden Warner entered the portal, I wouldn't be surprised if he went and started somewhere because he looked that good during the spring for Florida. I'm not going to lie. The quarterbacks look good. The development of that position looks bright. Lagway, in some form of shape, he looked like a true leader, and that is what Billy Napier and this team wanted to see. Napier said that Lagway wanted to participate in the spring game, and he wanted to participate more in spring. And he was bummed out that he didn't. That's a true leader, guys. And if you're a Gator fan, you got to be really hyped about DJ Lagway. I would be hyped about DJ Lagway entering this year. He's a solid quarterback. He's going to be the truth. And I think that college football, especially in the SEC, may better pay attention to DJ Lagway. He is a solid quarterback, makes good decisions as a sophomore, which is surprising. He's going to start his first full year. I'm excited to see what he's doing, and the future is bright for this team and for Florida overall under DJ Lagway at the quarterback spot. So overall, my spring result grade for Florida is an A-. I think A- is suffice. I think the conditioning is a concern. I think that's the big concern for me. It's what brought my grade down to an A-. Overall, this team looks ready to go. They look like a team that can compete with anybody, and they look like Napier looks really, really hungry and out to prove that, hey, I'm keeping my job. I'm the right man for this job. We got the playmakers. We got the quarterback. We got the recruiting. We got the facilities. I'm building this program back up, and I'm ready to go. And A- is the best grade because I think this spring was pretty good. I think it was a pretty good spring for them, and they needed to have a spring like this to prove that, we're gearing up to not shy away from everybody. We're not backing down. Just like Tom Petty's song, and just like they say in Florida and Gainesville in the fourth quarter, they won't back down. And it's looking like in the spring, they're playing with that mindset of they're not backing down. So A- is the grade I got for Florida. That is my spring result for Florida heading into the fall and heading into the 2025 season and the college football season in the fall out of this spring. So that was Florida's spring result. Let's move on to two more teams as we conclude today's episode of Pigskin Frenzy. Let's move on to Auburn. Auburn at the helm here. I was really wanted to see what's going to happen with Auburn. They didn't make it to a bowl game last year. Kind of a bummer. They're looking to change that trajectory under year 3 of the Hugh Freeze era. And now they have guys from the portal and in recruiting that are committed and buying into the Auburn Tigers. So down in the Plains, they're buying in. So that's good. We just got to see how they develop and how they play now. So Hugh Freeze is getting more of his guys in there. Like I said beforehand, I don't think he's got full on his guys yet. Like he doesn't have all of his guys in there yet, but we're getting close. I would keep Hugh Freeze 1 year after this. I wouldn't expect this to be okay, we're going to go to the national championship now or bust, right? And it could. Who knows? It could be a surprise. Who knows? But I would expect them to win at least 8 or 9 games to show people, hey, we are a team that is good. We're pushing in the right direction. Just give me time. And I think that's where we could be at right now with Hugh Freeze. And I think that's what we got to give him, and that's give him time. So no hot seat yet for me, for Hugh Freeze. Under year 3, they just got to win a little bit more, but no hot seat just yet as we enter the 2025 year. They got quarterbacks, 3 of them to be exact. Jackson Arnold, Deuce Knight, and Ashton Daniels. 2 of them from the portal. 1 went from Oklahoma. 1 went from Stanford. 1 went from high school, and that was Deuce Knight. So we're going to talk about the quarterbacks. We're talking about what I disliked and did like from this spring for Auburn, and we're going to see in my own thoughts and talk about what I did not like and did like from this team. So, here are the spring results for Auburn. Here's what I did like, what I did like and disliked, for Auburn. So what I disliked from Auburn, number 1 is the conditioning. I'm going on about conditioning everything now, but conditioning more so than the others is what I'm concerned about. Jackson Arnold didn't play a lot. He practiced, but he didn't really, he was hurt. Let me just put it that way. There was a lot of injuries to be concerned about. I think the conditioning heading into the fall is a concern. I think they need to get that fixed. Other than that, I think they need to get the secondary in order as well. Secondary needs to be fixed. I think the development of the secondary needs to be in a more of a cohesive unit. They need to get everything developed on that end. And I think those are the 2 big things that I disliked about Auburn, heading in to the fall. Those are the big things that concern me, and those things could hurt you and be game killers even. So I think those 2 things are concerning to me. I think the things that I did like is the quarterback room. I think, did Deuce Knight have some weaknesses? Yes, but he's a freshman. He did show his strong suit, which was running the ball, escaping the pocket, and scrambling to make some good big-time throws. I like Deuce Knight as a quarterback. I think he needs to be developed more. Would I start him right now? Probably not. I would probably start Arnold, honestly. But if you're going to look at the quarterback room, it's bright. I think that they have a solid quarterback room. They did well, and I think that Auburn has a better quarterback situation than they did last year. That's wholeheartedly my honest thoughts. I love the receiver room. Eric Singleton, Cam Coleman, those 2 are going to be dynamic playmakers for this team. I love the receiving room for this team. They got some good 2 receivers on this team that are going to be solid. A good receiving room for this Auburn Tigers team. They're going to be playmakers, and that's what I liked for this spring. And they showed out and they balled out for this team. The running game was solid. The offensive line was a lot better than it was last year. They still need a little bit more development, but they were a lot better in the spring. I think they were a lot better this spring than they were last year, and they're still showing signs of improvement, which is good for Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers and this team. So overall, and that is really my spring results for them. I mean, head coach Hugh Freeze is there. Head coach Hugh Freeze, offensive coordinator Derek Nix, defensive coordinator DJ Durkin, all back on staff for this team for 2025. My spring result grade for Auburn is a B+. I'm going to tell you why they're a B+. It's the concern of the injuries. That is a big thing for me, and the secondary needs to be more developed. I think those 2 things are the big thing for me. I think the quarterbacks are, playing good. I think the offensive line's a lot better than it was. You got some playmakers at receiver. I just think that Auburn needs to have more of an umph about them heading into the fall. I think Auburn needs to have that umph to show everybody that we're going to win more than the games that we won last year. They won 5 games last year. We need to show everybody that we may not win the national title, but we're going to go out there and win at least 8 games, at least 8 or 9 games this year. That's what I think it's what Auburn fans, diehard Auburn fans are wanting a national title and an SEC championship game appearance. But I think realistically, Auburn fans want at least 8 to 9 wins. And I think Auburn has the talent to do that. I think Auburn needs to show that umph and show that fire to do that. And I think that's what they're really lacking mentally right now. And I think that's what I'm concerned about. And that's why I graded their spring a B+. I think in the fall that could change. I want to see what's going to happen in the fall and in the training camp. And I want to see before the season them get that fire lit under them. Like, hey, we need to get going on this and trend in the right direction. So B+ for Auburn is my spring result for me there. Last but not least, let's go right into the Tennessee Volunteers. A heck of a spring for the Tennessee Volunteers, right? In the spring game, Nico Amaliaava is out. He is no longer their quarterback. He entered the portal there. He missed their spring practice due to NIL breakdowns. He ended up transferring to UCLA. We're going to get into the quarterback situation to conclude this episode, but it was a unique situation. Tennessee coming off of a college football playoff game appearance, led by Nico, and Nico ended up leaving. A solid season, but now they want to focus on 2025 and the future and how they can get back and turn the page to get back to the college football playoff in this year. Josh Heupel, head coach, is back along with offensive coordinator Joey Halzle. Defensive coordinator Tim Banks is also back for the Tennessee Volunteers in 2025. So that's what we're trying to see for this team heading in to the fall, and those are the coaching staff, and that's what we're trying to see for the fall, right? So let's discuss we're going to discuss the elephant in the room in a minute, but let's discuss what I disliked and did like for Tennessee in the spring. Here's what I did not like. There is no clear-cut advantage at quarterback between George McIntyre and Jake Merklinger. I think Jake Merklinger is good. I think that George McIntyre is also good. I think they're good, but they really didn't show there's an experience factor there. They don't have the operative experience to beat QB1 at this point in time, but they could be in the future. Who knows? I think they're good quarterbacks. I think they can lead this team, but Josh Heupel can do a lot with them. I just think that they showed that without Nico there in the spring game, it was not really a clear-cut direction that they can go at quarterback, right? So that's the thing that I was concerned about for Tennessee. Obviously, I think at the secondary position, they have a solid defense, but I think the secondary position is lacking a little bit more depth. I think they need to add some more depth in the secondary spot for Tennessee. I think that could be a concern for them heading into the season. I think that they can bolster up on that area. I think those are the two things that I was really concerned about for Tennessee in the spring game. I think what I did like about Tennessee, however, this spring was their defense physically. They have not let up physically in that department on defense. I think just like last year, they were physical on defense, made some phenomenal decisions on tackling. They were a heck of a defensive unit, and they played really, really good. I think the running game looked good. I think some playmakers at receivers stepped up on the offense. I think overall the unit on offense looks good. They have a solid offensive line. They got some good blockers there. They have more weapons than they did last year entering the first round of the playoffs, which is saying something about Tennessee, which Tennessee could be on the way back heading into this year. So that's some confidence that I can say about Tennessee in their spring on what I liked and disliked from their spring. Overall, what I give Tennessee and their spring result is a great A-. I think, though, the secondary spot is a thing. I think the direction at quarterback was a concern a little bit. We're going to get into that here in a little bit. I think that's a concern in the spring game. Overall, I think that they had a solid spring. They looked physical. They looked fired up and motivated to play for the quote-unquote power T, as Josh Heupel calls it, and they look ready to rock and roll as Volunteers. And I think as a unit, they look a lot better. They look like they're in a lot better space. And I think they look like they're a team that is ready to go play some football coming up this fall. So A- is the grade that I give Tennessee. And that is what my spring result on Tennessee. To conclude really quick on the spring results, they went out and got themselves a quarterback. And it is Joey Aguilar from UCLA. A quarterback swap in college football, like a trade from the NFL, but in college football. UCLA, Nico. Tennessee, Joey Aguilar. He came from App State and UCLA. He brings a ton of experience in. I would assume that he will be QB1 for this team heading into the fall. He's going to practice with this team in the fall, and he may win the starting job. He looks like he is the most experienced quarterback at this point in time for this team, and it's looking like that he may be the new QB1 for this team coming up in the fall. I like what he brings to the table. I think he's a good thrower. He's a team player, and he looks like he is ready to play some football for Tennessee. He was fired up when I heard heard about him going to Tennessee. He sounded fired up. I heard reports about him being really excited to go to Knoxville and really excited to go play for Tennessee. So other than that, we'll see what happens at the quarterback spot. They got themselves a QB1, and we'll see what happens heading into the fall for Tennessee. That was Tennessee's spring results. That was our spring results on Missouri, Florida, Auburn, and Tennessee. Guys, we are out of time. A big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage and some spring football coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, all you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram at Pigskin_Frenzy. Follow, like the page is there. You're going to get episode updates, news and highlights from across college football, trivia questions on Instagram stories. Go and answer today's college football question as well as all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, the website's www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com for all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just listen to some college football coverage in our last round of spring football coverage presented by me. We made it. We made it all the way down to the end of spring football. We're done. We wrapped it up today. And some news. No episode this Thursday. No episode next Tuesday. So May 15th, no episode. No new episode May 20th, which is next Tuesday. I will be in Mississippi. I will be gone. I will be having a slight break, a slight vacation, but we will return to Pigskin Frenzy next Thursday. Next Thursday, May 22nd, and we will discuss the spring transfer portal window, who won, the moves that were made, and the final standings for the transfer portal rankings overall for 2025. I'm going to discuss the transfer portal window for the spring. That will be our episode for next Thursday. We're going to discuss it. You're not going to want to miss my thoughts on it. I'm excited, and that will be next Thursday when we return May 22nd for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, we thank you for tuning in for the spring football coverage. Guys, we couldn't do this show each and every week without you on Tuesdays and Thursdays. 4,900 plus listeners, thank you so much for tuning in each and every week. We couldn't do this show without our Lord and Savior Jesus. He gives us the platform to do this show and gives us the platforms to be seen and be heard for talking about college football and to spread his news most importantly. Guys, if you want to know what a relationship with Jesus is like and want to come to know Jesus, contact me on X and Instagram at Pigskin_Frenzy, as well as the website www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. At the contact info, name, email, and question, we'll talk about that and we will discuss the best decision you can ever make in your life, and that is coming to know Jesus and having a relationship with Jesus and being saved by him. Because without him, we couldn't do anything, and our purpose is to serve him. So we serve him and we give him all the praise for this show and give him the thanks and glory to him for giving us this platform. So we praise him and we love Jesus for giving us this platform. Guys, we love you guys. We're praying for you all. Guys, until next Thursday's edition of Pigskin Frenzy, and we will be on social media. We'll be on X and Instagram. Don't think we won't be. We will be on X and Instagram. We'll have videos. I'll give you my thoughts on it. If anything breaks, I'll post still. Don't worry. I'll be on. Guys, until next Thursday, May 22nd of Pigskin Frenzy, I'm Joel Norris signing off. We will see you then. Guys, for everybody out there, we're praying for you all and we love you all. Guys, as always, stay the course.